What appears? What's
You
going
are
on?
watching Jangle live on Twitch, where we are going to be streaming all of the events tonight.
Well, that means midday. It's not tonight.
Hey, mate. I just woke up.
Me too.
Nocturnal
Dot
gang.
Ganda watching. Cool.
Alright, Steve. WSC got the double spear going again. Looks like it.
Well, it definitely worked very well for them yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're live.
Interestingly,
What
playing
composition do we got here?
Yeah, so it's Halberd, Evening Star, and Swirehander. All quite long weapons, I think, from AE.
Quickly going the
And
way of AE.
Double.
Nice parries from Shama.
I missed what Knightley was playing. He was playing
Oh.
Longsword yesterday. Oh,
Meme
This-
with a quick poke to the face.
should probably re-explain it. This is yesterday. The same team matchup went the way of WSC, which was pretty surprising because they're definitely how I'd see them as underdogs for this tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to elaborate on that?
So AE, I've known AE for a long time. They were always kind of a clan that was in the woodworks of Chivalry. I was never really super competitive in Chivalry, but I knew of them. I saw them around a lot. WSC, I never really saw anyone. But in Mordhau, when Mordhau first came out, WSC actually were probably one of the biggest, one of the first groups to just appear out of nowhere. While I was creating my community, WSC was already kind of established, and they were growing at the same speed as we were. So they started off as kind of like a super team. Pretty funny. There was a ton of them, but no, like, without trying to sound toxic, like, none of them were super
None of
amazing.
that.
You know what I mean? So it was like no one really expected them to create a competitive team, and then out of nowhere they've got these three guys that have just they've matched really well against a lot of the things that are happening in the tournament.
It's nice parries
is
from Meme, but then he
pretty
just gets
cool.
gambled.
Yeah,
that
it's
shit.
all tied up at the
WSC
moment. 2-2.
And AE matching each other.
WSC, similar strat to yesterday. You see Safeway Bandit and Charmant. They go on a 2v2, or they work as a pair, and then Knightley just kind of, you can see them already. Knightley kind of splits off of it. Well, as I say that, of course, they change up their strat, but it's a bit of a messy game.
It's got three
Big boy
1v1s again.
1v1 over here from Shimon and Apathy.
And-
Apathy takes him out with a swift little uppercut to the neck. Huge plays.
Dev did well in that 2v1.
Apathy and Shama definitely both their teams best duelists by a relatively decent margin. You can see them both top fragging at the moment.
What would
It's
you,
good to
was there any kind of like visible strategy to what AE does? Or is it, do you think it's mainly player skill that's putting...
Well, I think first things first, best strategy from AE is no more Falchion Buckler. So yesterday, not quite an ideal weapon. They've all
There is
chosen
absolutely nothing wrong with pulling out a one-hander and a buckler to absolutely confuse the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mind game strat.
Speak from experience. The heavy hand axe and the buckler, best competition in the game.
But yeah, today AE chosen much longer weapons, which I think is the way to go against spears, because best way to counter longness is just some longness of yourself.
It's pretty back and forth here, just both teams taking rounds.
Yeah, it's pretty evenly matched right now.
I mean, if I could give AE advice right now, it'd be try and do some ganks to themselves. Try and, instead of 3 1v1s like it is now, try and go for 2 people, try and take out Shama. Or for WSC, I'd focus on Apathy. Because if you take out their best
And
players,
Apathy
first of all,
has
if
been
you're
a name that I've seen for years. I don't know, like I was never into the competitive scene of Chivalry, but I remember names, and Apathy was one of them. One of the ones that was around since like, fuck, 2013, 2014.
I don't remember ever seeing him, but I've only really started playing a lot in 2016 onwards.
Yeah.
Down to a 2v2 here.
Just
two
1v1
1v1s.
matchup here. It's pretty.
Yeah, if I was on either team,
Oh, Knightley fucking steals it, comes into the 2v1. Oh, he's bandaging. Oh,
Me
that
was
an
out of
interesting play.
stamina.
Now, boys of the CQ,
greetings.
do you think that in a situation where you're in a 2v1, and you know
As
you've
the
got
one
the
or as the two?
opportunity to rush, and you're the 2, the
Okay.
1 still has a decent amount of health, one of your 2 players is low, would you heal or would you run in and try
The
to
2
assist?
should always regen and play it slow. They should wait until they're all full health before going in.
Yeah,
If
like
you're both full
if-
health versus a 1 who's full health, it's extremely hard for the 1 to
Oh my
do
God,
both of your
me-
health pools.
Yeah, I get that. See, a lot of the
the wall just crippled Knightley. If he hadn't hit the wall, oh, beautiful.
that was fucking incredible.
As I was saying yesterday, Knightley, probably an underrated jeweler. He was making some pretty great decisions. Completely lost what I was talking about. If you ignore the health regen debate, which I'm not sure if you're aware of, but yeah, I would say just playing it slow
Oh, that
and
TK.
really minimizing the
Oh.
advantages of the 1. Like, just in general, I think Mordhau's a game where if you sit back and like read, pay attention to what's going on, you're gonna have an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Ooh,
2v1
nice dodge.
Dev coming to. Oh,
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think a
if
lot
I-
of what we were doing wrong as SG was that every time we were in a 2v1 situation, we'd try and rush it. And I think that was pretty obvious to see.
It's gonna attempt from Sharma own, but couldn't quite do it.
it was. Yeah, Mean did a good job of staying just out of range there. Because if you stay close enough to kind of make them try and get closer and attack you, but still far enough away that you can just keep backpedaling, it really makes it a lot harder for him to deal with what the other person's doing, what Dev was doing there.
WSC playing pretty passively there at the start.
We'll just note this is match point 6-5 to WSC. Very close game. 6-6 all now.
6-6 now, yeah.
So this is match point.
6-6 on the first match of the day. WSC and AE. WSC, would you still consider them the underdog
Well,
after what they've
they
done?
did win their match, but
Yeah.
as far as in-game experience, it's hard to say. I mean, I think at this point we can just say they're close matchup for both of them.
Yeah.
This very clustered position. What a
Yeah, I
shame.
was about to say, it's getting a little bit crazy in there. And there's not a lot of switching happening.
Exactly. It does frustrate me to see like 3 1v1s. It's kind of the classic strategy for everyone. And
Speak from experience
I'd like to
as
see
one of the
people-
newer
Okay,
teams.
WSC take it.
That's fucking huge from WSC. Well done,
Yeah.
boys.
Extremely close. Okay.
One under the belt for WSC. They only need another one to take out the... Would that be their last match if they win?
So after this, whoever wins this goes into the bracket final versus Exemplare.
There you go.
I get like 100 XP. I get 10 XP a minute, so it's not like it's a good XP farm.
Well,
I
I
don't get
did
any
level up.
gold.
Yes. Felt pretty good about that. 57 to 58.
Little
Nice.
shout out to Spearsy in the chat. He's the leader of the WSC group.
Very
of,
appropriate
I think
name.
80
Well,
plus
interesting.
members now.
WSC dropped their double spare. Safeway Bandit dropped to Alt Battle Axe, which we saw a lot of yesterday, actually. It's not a pick I'm accustomed to. Because the thing with alt battle axe, it has the exact same damage values. It's just shorter and faster. So you're losing like a lot of the delay capability for sort of surprise factor, being very fast. Apparently
running
doing a
around
practice lap
fences.
of the
Yeah. Just hurting.
We got some huge plays coming out from WSC here as they're confusing the enemy, running around the ring,
Here we go.
making them guess.
Going in. Seems like it's working.
Oh. Mate, see Knightley do that huge spin? I was ready
Oh,
for some
Good
chivalry
parries
moves.
from Meme. Oh, Meme's cleaning up.
Oh, mate, Meme is just... Oh,
He
my
put in
God.
work
He
there.
comes up his team. He didn't give a fuck about anyone. He was just taking everyone out. If you have a heartbeat, Meme's coming after you.
Just completely carried that round for his team. They're going back to the double
Alright.
spear.
I quite like this point to attack because it forces them to stay close. So they sort of switching's much more viable, even if they're trying to triple 1v1.
Yeah. In in those tight spaces, it should be like the easiest time to be switching, right? Is that something you guys would agree on, or is it more? Do you reckon it's easier to switch and play team strats in more of an open field?
Well, you're more likely to hit the wall, and any time you hit a wall, it's just extremely negative for you.
Yeah. When you hit a wall, it's a full stop. That's just game over.
I guess I'll
Nothing
just
happens.
explain switching in case anyone in the audience isn't really aware. So a target switch is like if one person attacks you, you parry it, and then the switch would be you repost, and then you attack someone next to them who's not expecting it. So it's
What
a
an
pretty
apathy
good way.
just did right there was perfect, because he was being focused by Safeway Bandit, and then he switched over to the other guy on the right. And the dude on the right was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, it looks like we might be going game 3.
Bit early to
AE
say yet,
3-0
but
right
AE definitely
now.
pulling it back this game.
Game faces are on, tensions are high.
They seem to want to engage here since it's been working for them, but WSC are going a different route.
Shimon is staunching them over the fence. Safeway Bandit initiates pretty...
Extremely, he's 1v2ing.
2v1 there, he's surviving really well. And that pretty much just won it for them, that round, because if he didn't survive there, it would have been another 1v1v1.
Yeah, like it's a great strat to just, if you're in a 1v2, to just focus on defense. If you survive long enough, your teammates are in a 2v1. You can just wait for them to win, and then come clean up with you.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely the meta in a 3v3. If you lose, get
Got a
one pick,
shield.
it's very hard to win a 2v3.
I think it's only the second shield we've seen in the tournament.
Well, it
Looks like
depends
it's
if
got
you count
one-handed messer.
heroic buckler players. For
Oh
this,
yeah, I don't count bucklers as actual shields.
Well, yeah, because
Safely in this
bucklers-
corner. No.
Oof.
wow, I'm getting bullied. It's not a. It's a. What do you want me to say? Reposte?
It's
A
riposte.
repost?
Riposte, not yeah.
I guess I'm just a failure.
Feels bad.
I'll just refrain from using that word again. I'll say counterattack.
Say it
Bullied
in a
for all
French
your
accent.
pronunciations.
Or an
Riposte.
Italian accent.
Just got 3 1v1, so we've got a switch. Exciting.
Say it in an Italian accent. Hey, I'm riposting here! Is that what you're going for? Is that what you mean, Captain Scar?
That's more of a Boston kind of.
Yeah.
Italian.
Hello there. What's going on? Oh, he just stabbed the man in the back. Huge plays coming out from Knightley here. They're gonna be 2v1ing. And Dev is dead. Look at that.
White
He's on the floor,
Stallions
bleeding
sort of
out.
working on a comeback here. It was 3-0, now it's 4-2.
Yeah, I'll try and do that, Yikers.
Interesting to
tight
see
engagement here.
shield from AE
Just
now.
instantly gets taken out.
Oh,
Steamroll.
Shield avoids getting some
what?
good blocks in.
He's really carrying quite well.
Hmm.
What WSC need to do is really try and get around him, because best counter to his shield is trying to sidestep, trying to fake them out and hit behind them. The Repiste. What's that? I think this was gone a bit too far.
Repiste.
There.
All right, huge Repistes coming out from the enemy team here. Blue.
Oh, Knightley doing very well to try and glitch
Yeah.
that. It's what a weird setup.
In the
AE
other
coming out on
corner,
top.
Dev just took out one of the others in the back. Yeah.
5-3, another pretty close game.
Looks like Apathy's doing work with the halberd, which I was saying yesterday how strange how he hadn't seen many halberds and Swies. So it's good to see one.
What you would consider to be like the top tier teams, the alpha players and such, would you ever see a shield in many of them?
I mean, shield is definitely powerful, but I think it's more the fact that all the top tier players tend to go towards two-handed weapons. So like,
Yeah.
they would do
Just
well
for
with
high
a shield,
damage
but it's
output
just not
and
what they're
the
used
range,
to.
or is there any other reason for it other than that, or is it just like it's just the preferred weapon in like a 1v1 situation?
I think it's just personal preference, honestly. Like, shield doesn't have too many downsides in MORDHAU other than being forced to use a one-hander.
Yeah, that's pretty much the major. Like shield, you can ignore feints, you can ignore a lot of the trickier combat stuff. Because you can just hold it down.
Yeah.
Right. But the downside is the best weapon you can choose is what Dev's using, is a Master, which is, compared to some of the bigger weapons, it's good damage, but it's relatively short.
You would consider that the best weapon?
I
Oh, you mean the best weapon with a shield,
Going to
right?
game
Yeah,
3.
with a shield. Like if I was gonna play a shield, I'd play Mesa. Other good options, Mace is pretty hard to read. Okay, so that's 7-3 to AE. We're going to a third final map. Some breach of rule 4 in the chat there by Apathy.
What was it? What did he say?
Oh no, I forgot he said it at the start.
Would you like me
Because he
to
said boring
join
in
the
response
server
to
and
them.
bash him?
Yeah.
Yes? Alright.
He said boring laps trying to sort out their positioning, and just because it showed the chat at the end when they said good round, I thought he said that at the end. It's some toxic behavior, but I just misinterpreted it. Okay, so we've got tourney, one of my favorite 3v3 maps.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably... I mean, if you ignore the indoor
If you don't go
shenanigans,
inside,
yeah, it's probably like the second best skirmish map.
if we had some of that Venatus
We
high
haven't seen
tier
a lot
stuff.
of tourney until now, right? Like, have we had any games on tourney?
We
I
had
remember.
We had a
EX
few,
versus
yeah.
WSC here yesterday.
Fair enough.
Don't remember. Contraband. EX
You
contraband.
get bullied about how you said tourney now as well.
Tourney. Well,
We
I
got
think
a little bit of tourney going on here. AE meme just bashed him with a big ass stick, and now he's dead.
I am pretty surprised to
plays.
see a shield. I wouldn't have expected it, but it seems to be working very well for them, because he can just kind of sit in the 1v1 and delay really well. I think is what's working for him. Please play Crossroads. I don't think Crossroads is actually in the map.
No, it's not in the
rotation,
pool.
What's the 1v1s
Ooh,
happening in the
brilliant drag by Meme there. He really floated his butt.
How do you rate the Evening Star in a kind of team situation? Because I always thought that having a slashy weapon is going to be more of an advantage, because you can cleave, right? You can go through more than one player.
Even
It is
Star's,
one of
like,
the
really strong
downsides.
at the moment.
But yeah, because because it has so much damage, big damage weapons are just like, if you're in a situation where you're trading or when you're like reposting a lot. I mean, reposting. It's definitely the case. Like something which takes 2 hits to kill versus something like a longsword, maybe 3 or 4. You're just gonna win. And yeah, it's definitely a very strong pick, despite in maybe in bigger fights, 5v5, 6v6, the lack of slash would let you down. But something small like this, with lots of 1v1s, there's no real downside to hit stop, which is what happens with blunt weapons when you hit someone.
Yeah, especially
nice.
since you like two-shot someone at worst with an Evening Star anyway.
Yeah, it's currently 2-1.
Yeah, Anime Exterminator, one of my team members, uses an Evening Star quite a lot, and I fucking hate it. It's a very punishing weapon. You make one mistake and you've only got another one to keep you alive. You know, you only get hit twice by that thing. It doesn't matter how you're gonna get deleted.
Safeway Bandit swapping to Bastard Sword without Buckler. Bit of an interesting choice there. Considering how much of an advantage Buckler is, I'm not sure. Maybe he's just not aware of how good it is. He kind of gets caught in the crossfire. He's still alive though.
Oh, TK.
Gnarly 1v1 over there. Shimon taking 2 people out, coming in for 2v1.
Well,
Nice
well
little
done by Shimon.
poke
That's what I was talking about. He really hits the left side of the shield, where he's trying to block in the middle, but because of that, he can just be hit from behind with a nice stab drag. So it's 3-2 in our final match. Pretty close. One of the better games of the weekend.
Does the parry mode of the shield have a turn cap? Seeker in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that a CQ Pug member would be asking this question, but yes. If you hold down shield, there's a pretty hefty turn cap, which I think it should be heavier personally, but
Yeah.
you can't turn it too far. Chase 2 rabbits and you will lose them both. Extremely wise wisdom. Thanks for that, printer. That's of course a reference to the difficulty of 2v1ing, I think. Just 3 1v1s. Oh,
Nice little,
a switch attempt by
smack
Apee.
by Safeway. Safeway tried to get away from it to switch, but he's just too far away from his team. Gets taken out by
2v2.
Meme.
Guy with the shield
Meme.
just couldn't get close to the spear.
It's extremely
2v1.
difficult to try and
Meme's getting stabbed from every angle. Nothing he can do.
yeah. Shaman, he's really good in a 2v1 at trying to bait their opponent to parrying one direction and then dragging around behind the parry.
Yeah, he's 10-3 at the moment. He's really putting in work with the spear.
Yeah, same with yesterday. Definitely the star player. Although that's not to discount Safeway Bandit and Nightly. Nightly especially, I was very impressed with his dueling. Like
Oh,
there,
that
he
was
just
really-
instantly took out Apathy. Some
There was
swift
some really
balls.
weird plays, running through the middle of crossfires and things like that, but it worked out for WSC.
Nightly bandaging and getting smacked for it. It's 5-3 to WSC.
Very nice, WSC.
So I guess what I'm looking for is AE to try and switch it up somehow, play something a little bit different. Well, I definitely keep the halberd. That's yeah. Apathy on halberd is probably their best pick.
Apathy was a ballet dancer back in Chivalry.
Oh, beautiful! I don't know if he even saw him there. If he just decided to try
Oh,
switch,
man.
Nightly just slapped Apathy in the face.
And Meme just bonking heads off like it's nothing. Evening Star is such a terrifying weapon, man. Make one wrong move and your head is gone.
Especially with a beautiful 40k skin there.
That's it. Gotta get that Grand Mace, boys. Skins get
Oh,
wins,
quick
am I right?
pick by
CQ?
Apathy. I'd be looking for them to win this round.
Safeway Bandit getting pushed into a
That's
corner
quite a
by the
great
Evening
move.
Star.
Push the shield in while you regen, because the main thing about dueling the shield is no matter what, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
you have to win on stamina or by stab dragging, so that they can really use it to just delay very effectively. A lot of support for White Stallion Comapny in the chat. No, don't see any AE supporters there. Pretty tragic.
It's really close here. Third game, 5-5.
Yeah, I have no clue who's gonna win. Just gonna watch it as it happens. Oh,
Underdog's gonna
by
let us
shame,
support.
Safeway Bandit. He went to switch there,
To
but
meme in a
hit
3v1.
his teammate.
He's got
got
no
parried.
stand.
Can he do it? Can he? No.
Ooh, we have
just
a
smacked
single
his
AE
hand
supporter.
into oblivion.
Two AE supporters. Captain
And
Scar
beyond
supporting
bullets.
the team member who's no longer present. Is still a good attempt. Go red and blue. I think that is the takeaway here.
Very inclusive.
Where is Dominus? Why isn't he in this chat supporting his team? Dominus, if you're there, speak up, my boy.
The tricky thing with that is that he's I forgot what the word is. What's it called when you're in the army?
It's deployed.
And then you go
Oh,
out.
he's deployed, is he?
Being deployed. He's being
Ah,
deployed
there you
just
go.
now. Yeah. With my insider AE.
AE, we salute you.
Man,
Thank you for
Knightley
your service.
doing so well with those parries.
Oh man, Knightley just popping off. Gives him a quick punch before he drops.
And I think
Smacking him in the chin. Take that.
What the
bastard.
fuck? He's just
Oh god,
this
yeah.
is
teleporting on
This is
top of the
6-6.
ammo box.
Chest meta, bro.
Extremely
6-6,
close.
Jesus.
Whoever wins
Last
this
round.
wins the match. Goes on to face Exemplare.
This is incredibly matched. It's actually really, really cool.
Got to be proud of both of these teams for
Oh,
both
100%,
being
man.
very new.
AE have been around a long time. They've been around since like early days Shiv, but I don't think they were ever really considered a pro team.
Yeah, when I
They
say
have been
incredibly
around.
new,
They've
I
got
mean
the
both non-alpha players, both new to the MORDHAU scene.
yeah. Knightley in
Oh,
the 2v1
Knightley with a
set, she was doing
beautiful
so well with the
Just
riposte.
have to Safeway to
Repeat stays.
3v1.
Repeat
Safeway
saves.
3v1, can he do it? Gets one, goes for the fucking. Oh my god.
Oh,
Ah,
there we
he's
go.
lost it.
Ace
GG.
hit. What a close hit.
G.
Incredibly good game.
boys. God damn.
Amazing. Okay, so up next,
WSC. You did so well.